Welcome to this episode of True Crime Case Files. Today, we delve into a chilling case from the exclusive Orange County suburb of Mission Viejo, California. In September 2003, a love triangle turned deadly, leaving us with the question, who's the killer, cheating wife or jealous mistress? In the affluent Orange County suburb of Mission Viejo, California, Kevin Ziegler, age 43, lived a life that many would envy. As a financial analyst, Ziegler had carved out a successful career for himself, a testament to his hard work and dedication. A graduate of the University of California, Berkeley, he had always shown a keen acumen for numbers and an ambition that propelled him from a humble beginning to the ranks of respected professionals in the financial sector. Ziegler's home life, on the surface, appeared equally fulfilling. Married to Olivia, a high school teacher with aspirations of authorship, the couple had 2 children and resided in a picturesque neighborhood, emblematic of the American dream. They were often seen at local spots, enjoying the community's offerings, from the serene Lake Mission Viejo to the bustling shops at Mission Viejo, where the family could be spotted on weekends browsing through the latest releases at Barnes & Noble or enjoying a meal at one of the local eateries. In the days leading up to his untimely death in September 2003, Ziegler was reportedly working on a significant project at work, one that he believed could be a turning point in his career. According to colleagues, he had been putting in extra hours, fueled by the dream of one day becoming a financial director. His dedication was evident in his meticulous planning and the detailed presentations he was known for. However, beneath the facade of professional success and domestic bliss, there were rumblings of discontent. Friends and family hinted at tensions within the marriage, though few could have predicted the tragic outcome. In this period, the world was still reeling from the aftermath of the U.S. invasion of Iraq, and the Columbia Space Shuttle disaster earlier in the year had cast a shadow over the nation. Yet, in the Ziegler household, a different kind of storm was brewing, one that would end in a shocking and violent act. On the evening of September 15, 2003, the tranquility of Mission Viejo, a community renowned for its safety and high quality of life, was shattered. Kevin Ziegler, a 43-year-old financial analyst, was found dead in his garage, a victim of a point-blank shooting. The discovery was made by Mark Thompson, a neighbor and friend, who had ventured over in the fading light to return a borrowed lawnmower, an act reflecting the close-knit nature of the community. The weather that evening was uncharacteristically damp for Southern California, with a light rain that had begun to fall, casting a somber mood over the neighborhood. Thompson, upon finding Ziegler's body, was overcome with shock. His immediate reaction was to call 911, his voice shaking as he struggled to convey the gravity of the situation to the dispatcher. The dispatcher, trained for moments of crisis, worked to calm Thompson while simultaneously dispatching police and emergency services to the scene. Mission Viejo, part of Orange County, was known for its idyllic settings and had been featured in various media as a desirable place to live. The community, with its well-kept homes and manicured lawns, was a stark contrast to the crime scene that awaited the first responders. The Ziegler residence, a 2-story home typical of the area's architecture, now bore the hallmarks of a tragedy. The community, which typically worried about mundane issues reported in the local Mission Viejo dispatch, such as city council decisions or school board meetings, was now the backdrop for a real-life crime drama, the likes of which were usually confined to the pages of the Los Angeles Times or the nightly news. Upon receiving the distress call on the evening of September 15, 2003, the Mission Viejo Police Department acted with immediate urgency. Detectives Sarah Gomez and Eric Miraflores, both with years of experience in the field of criminal investigation, were dispatched to the scene. Their arrival was prompt, a testament to the efficiency and dedication of the local law enforcement in maintaining the safety and security of this Orange County community. The scene that awaited Gomez and Miraflores was grim. Kevin Ziegler, a 43-year-old financial analyst known in the community for his professional success and active family life, lay dead in his own garage, a victim of a shooting at point-blank range. The garage, typically a mundane space filled with the trappings of suburban life such as sports equipment and gardening tools, had been transformed into a crime scene. The air, still heavy with the scent of rain from the earlier downpour, was now tinged with the metallic smell of blood. Detectives Gomez and Miraflores approached the investigation with a professional calmness, but the brutality of the crime was not lost on them. The crime scene was meticulously documented, with photographs taken and evidence collected. Among the items of interest were bullet casings and potential fingerprints, crucial pieces in the puzzle of who had committed this heinous act. The methodology of the investigation was thorough, reflecting advancements in forensic science that had been highlighted in media outlets such as CSI, a popular television show at the time that had brought forensic science into the living rooms of the American public. The detectives utilized a variety of tools and techniques, from dusting for fingerprints to canvassing the neighborhood for witnesses. Their goal was clear: to piece together the events leading to Kevin Ziegler's death and to bring the perpetrator to justice. In the days that followed, the community of Mission Viejo, typically concerned with the comings and goings reported in the local Mission Viejo Dispatch or the broader issues covered by the Los Angeles Times, found itself at the center of a real-life investigation. The tranquility of the suburb had been disrupted, leaving residents to grapple with the reality of the crime among them. The investigation into Kevin Ziegler's murder swiftly turned its focus towards those closest to him, with Olivia Ziegler, his 41-year-old wife, emerging as suspect number one. Olivia, a high school teacher with aspirations beyond her classroom walls, had often spoken of her dream to pen a romance novel. Her life in the picturesque Orange County suburb of Mission Viejo, while seemingly idyllic, was under scrutiny as detectives delved into the intricacies of her marriage to Kevin. Olivia's interrogation was conducted with precision, reflecting the seasoned expertise of detectives Sarah Gomez and Eric Miraflores. The questioning took place against the backdrop of a community still reeling from the shock of the crime, a sentiment echoed in the somber tones of local media coverage. The Mission Viejo Dispatch, along with regional news outlets, had begun to piece together the narrative of a troubled marriage, hinting at financial strains and personal grievances that may have motivated the crime. During the interrogation, Olivia's demeanor fluctuated between composed and visibly distressed. She vehemently denied any involvement in her husband's death, her voice firm yet tinged with emotion as she recounted the details of their life together. Her aspirations, once centered around literary success, were now overshadowed by the grim reality of her situation. The detectives probed Olivia's account, searching for inconsistencies or signs of deceit. The questioning, methodical in its approach, was reminiscent of the high-stakes interviews portrayed in popular crime dramas of the time, such as NBC's A Law and Order. The police sought to understand not just the facts, but the emotional undercurrents of Olivia's relationship with Kevin, believing that the motive for murder often lay hidden in the complexities of personal connections. As the interrogation unfolded, the community of Mission Viejo watched with bated breath, the case becoming a focal point of discussion. Neighbors and friends, once casual observers of the Ziegler's life, now found themselves questioning what they thought they knew about the family next door. As the investigation into Kevin Ziegler's murder deepened, attention shifted to Lana Henry, a 31-year-old real estate agent entangled in a secret sexual relationship with the victim. Lana, characterized by her ambition and independence, harbored dreams of establishing her own real estate empire in the competitive market of Southern California. Her involvement with Kevin, however, cast a shadow over her professional aspirations, drawing her into a narrative far removed from the glossy listings and upscale open houses that defined her career. The interrogation of Lana Henry was conducted with a keen awareness of the delicate balance between personal and professional lives in affluent communities like Mission Viejo. Detectives Gomez and Miraflores, leveraging their experience, navigated the questioning with a focus on uncovering motives rooted in jealousy or fear of loss. The backdrop of this interrogation was a society still grappling with scandals that dominated headlines in 2003, from corporate fraud to celebrity trials, reflecting a fascination with success and moral fallibility. Throughout the interrogation, Lana maintained a composed demeanor, her responses measured and deliberate. She articulated her shock and grief over Kevin's death, emphasizing her innocence and distancing herself from any motive for murder. Her calmness under scrutiny mirrored the poise expected of a successful real estate agent, accustomed to negotiating under pressure and managing perceptions. The police, in their questioning, sought to piece together Lana's whereabouts and interactions with Kevin in the days leading up to the murder, scrutinizing every detail for inconsistencies. As the investigation unfolded, the community of Mission Viejo, usually preoccupied with the serene lifestyle and local events reported in the Mission Viejo Dispatch, found itself at the heart of a mystery that echoed the dramatic narratives seen on national news. Lana Henry, once a figure synonymous with real estate success, was now a key player in a story that blurred the lines between personal tragedy and public spectacle. On a crisp morning on September 20, 2003, a pivotal breakthrough occurred in the investigation of Kevin Ziegler's murder. The serene suburb of Mission Viejo, typically bustling with the weekend activities of its affluent residents, became the focal point of a significant development. A local pawn shop, nestled among the array of businesses catering to the community's upscale clientele, reported a suspicious transaction that would alter the course of the investigation. The shop, known for its discreet dealings in high-end goods, had recently acquired a firearm that matched the description of the murder weapon. The seller, identified as David Forster, a 29-year-old personal trainer with aspirations of opening his own gym, was not typically associated with such transactions, raising immediate red flags for law enforcement. Detectives Sarah Gomez and Eric Miraflores responded with the urgency that had characterized their approach to the case. Their arrival at the pawn shop was swift, underscoring the gravity of the new evidence. The shop's surveillance footage provided them with clear images of Forster, adding a tangible lead to their investigation. This development, reminiscent of the plot twists often found in the crime dramas that dominated television in 2003, added a layer of complexity to the case. The discovery prompted a reevaluation of the relationships and motives surrounding Kevin Ziegler's murder. Forster, previously on the periphery of the investigation, was now a central figure. His connection to Olivia Ziegler, revealed through further probing, suggested a web of personal entanglements that could provide a motive for the crime. As the news of the breakthrough spread, the community of Mission Viejo, usually insulated from the kind of violence that grabs national headlines, found itself at the center of a narrative filled with intrigue and betrayal. The local media, including the Mission Viejo Dispatch, closely followed the developments, capturing the attention of residents who were unaccustomed to such disruptions in their peaceful enclave. With the investigation's focus shifting towards David Forster following the pawn shop revelation, the Mission Viejo Police Department intensified their efforts. David, a 29-year-old personal trainer with entrepreneurial dreams of starting his own fitness center, found himself under the harsh glare of the law. His illicit sexual relationship with Olivia Ziegler, once a private affair, became a critical element of the case, suggesting a complex motive rooted in personal connections and emotional entanglements. The interrogation of David Forster was conducted against a backdrop of increasing media attention. As details of the case emerged, local outlets like the Mission Viejo Dispatch and regional news sources began to draw parallels between this real-life drama and the intricate plots of popular crime shows which were captivating audiences in 2003. The community of Mission Viejo, typically more concerned with local events and lifestyle features, found itself at the center of a narrative that combined elements of passion, betrayal, and violence. During questioning, David's responses vacillated between moments of anger and profound despair, reflecting the emotional turmoil of being implicated in such a grave crime. His demeanor, at times defensive, provided investigators with insights into his psychological state and the nature of his relationship with Olivia. The interrogation process, meticulous in its execution, sought to unravel the sequence of events leading up to Kevin Ziegler's murder, with David's potential motive scrutinized under the lens of forensic evidence and behavioral analysis. As the case unfolded, the tranquil suburb of Mission Viejo became the backdrop for a story that resonated with themes of love, jealousy, and revenge, capturing the attention of a community unaccustomed to such disruptions. The investigation into David Forster's involvement, propelled by the discovery of new evidence, marked a turning point in the case, drawing connections between personal vendettas and the act of murder. As the investigation into Kevin Ziegler's murder progressed, the pieces of the puzzle began to coalesce, centering on David Forster as the perpetrator. A 29-year-old personal trainer with aspirations of opening his own gym, Forster's involvement in the crime was initially obscured by his peripheral presence in the victim's life. However, his relationship with Olivia Ziegler, the victim's wife, emerged as a critical axis around which the motive for the murder revolved. The revelation that Olivia had manipulated Forster with fabricated tales of abuse at the hands of her husband added a layer of complexity to the case. She painted a grim picture of her life with Kevin, alleging torture with knives and fire, thereby inciting Forster to commit the ultimate act of violence. This manipulation, rooted in deceit, highlighted the dark underbelly of personal relationships and the lengths to which individuals might go to extricate themselves from undesirable situations. Forster, driven by a misplaced sense of heroism and protective fervor, carried out the murder, shooting Kevin Ziegler point-blank upon his return home. This act of violence, executed with chilling precision, was the culmination of a series of manipulations and lies that blurred the lines between victim and perpetrator. The community of Mission Viejo, nestled in the heart of Orange County and typically insulated from the violent upheavals that grip other parts of the country, found itself grappling with the reality of a murder rooted in domestic discord. The case, with its twists and turns, bore resemblance to a soap opera or telenovela. However, for the residents of Mission Viejo, The murder of Kevin Ziegler was a stark reminder of the fragility of the veneer of suburban tranquility. As the investigation drew to a close, the motives and actions of David Forster and Olivia Ziegler were laid bare, revealing a tangled web of emotions and deceit that led to a tragic end. On the morning of September 25, 2003, the quiet streets of Mission Viejo were disrupted by the sound of police sirens as law enforcement moved to arrest David Forster, the man now identified as Kevin Ziegler's murderer. The arrest, conducted with the precision and seriousness characteristic of the Mission Viejo Police Department, marked a pivotal moment in a case that had gripped the community. David Forster, a 29-year-old personal trainer whose aspirations of opening his own gym had been overshadowed by his involvement in a deadly love triangle, was taken into custody without incident. His reaction to the arrest was one of surprise and resignation, as if the weight of his actions had finally settled upon him. Alongside Forster, Olivia Ziegler, the mastermind behind the tragic plot, was also arrested, her role as the instigator of her husband's murder now fully exposed. The reaction of Kevin Ziegler's family to the arrest was a complex mix of relief and profound grief. While justice was being served, it did little to fill the void left by Kevin's untimely death. The community, too, was left to grapple with the unsettling reality that such a heinous act could occur in their seemingly peaceful suburb. Local media outlets, including the Mission Viejo Dispatch, covered the arrest extensively, reflecting the shock and sadness felt by many. As the case moved towards trial, the actions and motivations of David Forster and Olivia Ziegler were scrutinized, offering a cautionary tale about the destructive power of deceit and manipulation. The arrest of the perpetrators brought a sense of closure to some, but for others, it was a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the complexity of human relationships. The trial of David Forster and Olivia Ziegler for the murder of Kevin Ziegler unfolded in a courtroom filled with tension, anticipation, and the heavy weight of grief. As the proceedings began, the prosecutor, Angie Hashimoto, a seasoned attorney known for her meticulous preparation and unwavering commitment to justice, presented a compelling case against the defendants. Hart's argument painted a vivid picture of a premeditated murder, orchestrated by Olivia and executed by David, rooted in deception and betrayal. On the defense side, Michael Choi, a defense attorney with a reputation for his persuasive courtroom demeanor and strategic acumen, argued on behalf of Forster and Olivia. Evans sought to frame his client's actions within the context of emotional manipulation and psychological distress, suggesting that the complex dynamics of their relationships had clouded their judgment. The trial, closely followed by local media, echoed the public's fascination with true crime stories and real-life cases covered in the news. The community of Mission Viejo, still reeling from the shock of the murder in their midst, watched as the legal drama unfolded, bearing witness to the unraveling of a tragedy that had struck at the heart of their suburban tranquility. In the end, the jury delivered a guilty verdict for both David Forster and Olivia Ziegler, sentencing them to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The verdict was met with mixed emotions, relief that justice had been served, but sorrow for the lives irrevocably changed by the crime. Kevin Ziegler's family, while grateful for the legal resolution, mourned the loss of a husband, father, and son, whose absence left a void no verdict could fill. The trial's conclusion marked the end of a chapter for the community of Mission Viejo, but the story of Kevin Ziegler's murder remained a somber reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind the facade of a perfect life. In the aftermath of the trial that captivated the community of Mission Viejo, the lives of those involved in the case of Kevin Ziegler's murder began to slowly adjust to a new normal. The conviction and sentencing of David Forster and Olivia Ziegler to life without parole brought a sense of closure to a saga that had unfolded with the intensity of the crime dramas that were popular in the early 2000s, such as CSI and A Law and Order. Yet, the reality of the situation left a lasting impact on the community, a stark reminder of the fragility of trust and the depths of human complexity. Detectives Sarah Gomez and Eric Miraflores, who had been at the forefront of the investigation, continued their work with the Mission Viejo Police Department, their experience with the case adding a somber layer of wisdom to their approach to law enforcement. The case had not only tested their investigative skills but also offered a poignant lesson in the unpredictable nature of human emotions and motivations. For the family of Kevin Ziegler, life moved forward amidst the shadow of loss. The void left by Kevin's untimely death remained, a painful reminder of the vibrant life that had been so abruptly taken. Yet, in their grief, they found strength in each other and in the support of a community that had rallied around them during their time of need. The community of Mission Viejo, known for its serene lifestyle and picturesque surroundings, had been shaken by the events that transpired. Local media, including the Mission Viejo dispatch, which had closely followed the case, continued to reflect on the lessons learned and the questions raised about safety, trust, and the hidden turmoil that can exist behind closed doors. As the years passed, the case of Kevin Ziegler's murder remained a touchstone for discussions about crime and justice in suburban America. For those directly affected, the journey towards healing and understanding continued, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of tragedy. The tragic case of Kevin Ziegler reminds us of the dark complexities of human relationships and the devastating impact of deceit and betrayal. This episode of True Crime Case Files has explored the depths of love, jealousy, and ultimately, murder in the quiet suburb of Mission Viejo. Thank you for joining us, and remember, the truth often lies where we least expect to find it. Hey, true crime case solvers, interested in more real-life murder mysteries? Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And do you have any thoughts about this case or have a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe, true crime case solvers.